Steve, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of facilitate the meeting and keep us moving so to maximize efficiency. Let me remind you that we'll have to vote, a voice vote on every single item because of a teleconference, okay? So if there's any action item, then we'll have to take a voice vote. I'm going to go ahead and start the tape here in a second, and then we'll just jump right in unless there's any objections.
Sounds good here.
All right. Donald, you still there? Donald?
I'm here.
Okay, great. We're going to go start right now. All right. Welcome, gentlemen, to the Tennessee Athletic Commission meeting. I'm going to go ahead and we'll do a roll call and then a notice of meeting, okay? So as for roll, Steve Hanna?
Here.
Chad Chilcutt?
Here, sir.
Donald Wynn?
Here.
Tracy Miller Davis? All right. We do have quorum. If we will, we'll move on to the statement of necessity, and we'll have to vote at the end of this to accept that. As you know, this is standard with every meeting we do via teleconference. So let me jump right in. The Tennessee Athletic Commission called a regular meeting of the Commission to discuss the agenda as noticed on the website prior to the regularly scheduled meeting. However, Commission members were unable to meet quorum in person on the regularly scheduled meeting date of June 18th, 2018. Commission members promptly rescheduled for June 21st, 2018. However, all were unable to attend the meeting in person in Nashville and could only participate through telephonic means. Pursuant to TCA 844-108, a necessary matter is considered by this governing body at this meeting required timely action. The physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. In this instance, the Commission members needed to conduct a regularly scheduled meeting in order to meet the Commission's statutorily required minimum number of meetings. Quorum was not practical, and quorum by electronic means was necessary. Decision of the Board will be confirmed by a roll call vote. If we may, just an aye or a nay will get it, or yes or no will be fine. If you accept that statement, Steve Hanna?
Aye.
Chad Chilcutt?
Aye.
Donald Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's unanimous. For the notice of meeting, notice of June 21st, 2018 meeting of the Athletic Commission was posted to the website on June 18th, 2018. If we can, we'll move to the agenda. As you know, you've received the agenda to include all the documents that we'll be referencing today. Do we have a motion to accept the agenda, or does there need to be any changes or discussion?
I'll make them. Go ahead, Mr. Chilcutt. Sorry, sir. It's Chad Chilcutt. I make a motion to accept this.
Do we have a second? Do we have a second? All right. Now for roll call vote. Just yes or no, or aye or nay will get it. Steve Hanna?
Aye.
Chad Chilcutt?
Aye.
Donald Wynn?
Aye.
All right. We'll accept the agenda as noticed. Now for the March minutes. I trust that you gentlemen had a chance to look over those. Is there any discussion? If not, then we can move. If someone would make a motion to that regard to accept that, or if any edits that you'd like to enter in will be entertained. Is there a motion to accept it?
Steve Hanna, I'll make a motion.
We have a second?
Chilcutt, second.
Okay. All right.
The motion.
All right. Now for the roll call vote. Steve Hanna?
Aye.
Chad Chilcutt?
Aye.
Donald Wynn?
Aye.
All right, we've accepted the agenda and the minutes. I'm going to quickly just go over the budget report, and I will be very brief. You've already received the budget. You kind of know where we're at as far as that goes, generally speaking. But what you will notice is that this is the first time we were in the black, primarily because we didn't have any activity, enforcement activity. There was no fights in April. So as a result, we didn't have folks out there, inspecting those. So our legal cost backs were, as a result, or not legal, but field enforcement cost backs were, pretty minimal, and minimal, I mean zero. And the cost backs that are typically ascribed to programs, as a result of no activity, resulted in them accruing a credit. So you will see on there that there was a credit accrued, and with no additional activity or cost from field enforcement, we did end up in the black on that month. So we're hoping to maintain fiscal solvency in the 2-year cycle by maybe some bigger fights that we have coming down the pike, but we're tracking those as we go. We were we were in the positive last year. Right now, as you know, we've been running in the red, but a big ticket event would correct that. So, and we do have one kind of in the horizon now, and we're just waiting to see how that'll pan out. But that's the budget. Nothing right there, nothing actionable, nothing really for us to discuss, unless you have a question that you would like to ask on it. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next item. Is there any questions?
We'll take that as a small victory.
Yes, sir. We'll take it. Good. I like your spirit. Okay. Well, unless there's any other questions, we'll move on to legislative updates. And then Ms. Goldstein is here, and she'll go over those as well.
Hello, Commission members. I did want to update you about Public Chapter 1002. This was Senate Bill 1890 and House Bill 1882. The quick summary, this act authorizes international qualifying events for kickboxing to occur in this state as long as the events meet the standards required for such events by the World Association of Kickboxing Organizations or any subsequent entity recognized as the official kickboxing governing body by the International World Games Association. And this became effective May 21st, 2018. Now we will move on to a brief summary of our rules. I did want to let you know that the medical insurance reduction rules are moving through. They are close to the last few steps in our rulemaking process, so we hope to have an effective date for those rules before the end of 2018. We will update you with more details on the progress of that rulemaking package at our next meeting, but I did want to let you know that as soon as those are filed with the Secretary of State, everyone subscribed to our electronic notification subscription will receive an email regarding the details of that medical insurance reduction.
Good news.
Very good
Sounds
news.
good. Yeah.
Also, in regards to a different rule package that we had where we were updating some things such as the weight classes and apparel. It also included a section on the loss of bodily function. These rules are at the Attorney General's office for review, and I've been in discussions with our assigned Attorney General, and there was a few issues with just one of the rules, the loss of bodily function section. The Attorney General was concerned about clarifying this rule in regards to intentional fouls. This was because we have found that the language has, even though the ABC proposed this rule change, it's not officially been added to their rules yet. So if we add it to our rules before it's added to the ABC rules, our statute we would be in conflict with our statute, since our statute wants us to remain consistent with the ABC. So our discussion today, if there is any, would just be getting the Commission's blessing on holding off on this section of the rule until ABC has officially entered it into their official rules.
And have we been given any indication from the ABC when that might be, or?
I don't believe so.
Thank you.
Is there any questions on that in particular? If not, we can move on to the next item. It's just basically it's one of those situations that, to avoid being in conflict, we're waiting on ABC. Otherwise, we could. Really, right now we'd be in conflict with statutes. It would take a legislative change. So the quicker path to getting this accomplished would be just to wait on ABC and then adopt it then. So that's the path that we're going on right now. We're just extracting that one piece where it's in conflict, such as the intentional, those rules that I sent to you recently. That's a package that we've already approved, or that the Commission approved several meetings ago. But the part about the part that deals with intentional fouls that cause a loss of bodily function. Typically, the sole arbitrator of those of call or giving or rendering a TKO would be the physician or the referee. Our rules indicate that. Statute does allow for the Muhammad Ali Act, and which comports with ABC and adopting their rules as they come down. And so until they adopt that portion that would no longer put us in conflict with our own rules, with the physician and referee being the sole arbiter, then we have to basically yield to the rules as they stand on that portion until ABC adopts the total package. So that's what we're waiting on, just that portion of those rules. And Ms. Goldstein explained that better than I, but maybe just trying to put it in maybe industry terms as well to assist in that regard. And maybe I've muddied it worse, and if I did, I apologize. But that's the essence of what we were talking about.
Makes sense.
Okay. We'll move on to the next thing. Did you have anything else, Ms. Goldstein? Okay. All right. So we can move to new business. There was only two things in new business, and thank you, Ms. Goldstein, for elaborating all that and tracking that for us. We really appreciate it. But as we go to new business, there's two items. One being, if I can, we need to discuss basically the vinyl or other plastic rubberized covering to mats. This will be, in dealing with, these events. There's one of the rules has strictly prohibited vinyl substances. As you know, vinyl substances on a mat or a covering can be slippery or sticky when wet. If it was to tear, it can cause abrasions or cuts to the combatants. So that's why they've been prohibited. Let me read the rule to you first as it's stated, and then I'm going to pose the question to the commission for interpretation. All right, so here's what it says in the rule, okay? It states under Rule 145-03-02, A states, the ring or fighting area shall be no smaller than 20 feet by 20 feet and no larger than 32 feet. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Let me get to the part that we care about. The ring or fighting area shall have a canvas covering or similar material, right? It's tightly stretched and laced to the ring platform. Vinyl or other plastic rubberized covering shall not be permitted. Okay, so that's the issue. We've got a canvas covering or similar material. Hold on to those words, similar material, tightly stretched and laced to the ring platform. So that is allowed. All right, we want a canvas covering or a similar material. That's allowed. We want that. Now we have the opposite. What we don't want is a vinyl or other plastic rubberized covering, and primarily for the health risk it posed, just as previously described. All right, so that's the dilemma. We understand that clearly. Where we have problems is there's vinyl hybrids. You have some vinyls hybrids that aren't strictly 100% vinyl, but could potentially be interpreted to be a canvas-like covering or similar material in the sense that it may not be as slick as pure vinyl, but if it acts more like a canvas covering, could that be permissible? Is it within the spirit and intent of that rule? Maybe not, maybe so, but that's where we needed help from the industry experts, and so that's what we needed from you guys to kind of weigh in and let us know what direction we should take if we run into and we've already had one complaint, but several follow-ups to that as well, where we have some folks using a vinyl hybrid, and so is that permitted first? And if it is permitted, which vinyl hybrids would be permitted? We just need some direction on that. So if anyone wants to start that discussion, I welcome that. I'd appreciate that very much.
I'll hop in and then I'll hang up and listen, so to speak. But when we, in the spirit of these hybrid mats, I think about the two most popular that I'm familiar with are zebra mats, and then there's Dolomer has a pretty good product, and those are primarily on the Brazilian jiu-jitsu circuit, which is really similar to any mixed martial arts fight. I mean, it's full blown combat with the exception of kicking and punching, but those are perfectly acceptable, and quite frankly, I think that would be the preference of most competitors. Outside of those, and we'd have to be careful not to, when we're referencing a particular type of mat, it's not our intent to promote one manufacturer over the other, but those are the two manufacturers that come to mind when I hear and I don't know, Glenn, if that's what you're referencing when you speak to the hybrid type. But Zebra and Dahlinger are the two more popular providers of those type mats. So,
And that is, and go ahead, Chad. We'd love to hear from you, please.
Jay, as far as the cage goes, I know Monster makes some good cages, and they have a 18-ounce vinyl athletic type of cover that is they are say it's non-slippery, and that's the only thing. I haven't been on it. I just researched it. As far as what Mr. Hanna was talking about, the mats, I know at my school I use the kind of mats he's talking about for flooring, but in a cage or a ring, I don't know if Zebra, do they manufacture, not to give anybody props on who should use what, like you said, but do they manufacture, will they do that for a ring, I guess? I don't know. I haven't actually been on the surface, and I know that, I hear things about them. I hear different things about them.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, those two manufacturers pretty much dominate the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu circuit, but in every mixed martial art fight that I've seen, it's been a round ring or a cage, and those two type mats. I don't know of any product either one of those manufacturers made just for a circular ring. So, which kind of sparks my next question, Glenn. The folks that are complaining, are they credible, or are these just more or less these like tough man competitions that kind of pop up?
No, this would be our MMA shows, and that's why we wanted to make sure we went direct to you, because we've had promoters that were wanting to use that right now in pro-ams. So that's and I guess the question is this vinyl hybrid, is it more like the canvas covering or similar material, or is it more like the vinyl plastic rubberized covering? Or maybe to make this easier, you said you didn't want to endorse a particular brand. Well, what is it about those particular brands that you like? If you could focus on the quality of what it is about those brands or what they have to offer, that makes, you don't have to talk about the brands, but maybe perhaps you bring up those material and then describe in detail what the material is, or because you have to think about it. It's going to be an inspector that's going to show up. If an inspector doesn't know about, or just take anybody for that matter, because it may be somebody from administrative staff, could we describe it in such a way that we could adhere to that rule based on what would be the qualifier to make it a canvas covering or similar material? Because if it's a canvas or a covering or similar material, like if the vinyl hybrid that can be captured and described is a similar material, then that would be okay. Now, if it tends to be more vinyl in nature, then that's prohibited. So I guess we may just need more clarification, perhaps maybe a write-up or something to with some sort of criteria or something that we can look at and discuss in more detail would be helpful in that regard. Or if you can think of a criteria that would assist in that regard. But I think we're just trying to get to a point where we can give this to the inspector or a layperson, and then they can say, yeah, that would be more canvas-like, or no, that's vinyl. And how we get there, that's going to be the trick. So maybe think about that some more, and then by the next meeting, if we could bring forward some research in that regard, that would be greatly appreciated. Or just send me whatever you have. If Steve, you told me about those particular brands, send those over to me, and we can get the conversation started between you and I. Obviously, can't do it between two board members because then it's a meeting. We have to do it in the open air. But whatever you have individually, and Chad, and I'll just go ahead and take this as an opportunity as well. Chad has announced his resignation, and Chad, please feel free to jump in and expound on that. But he's going to be pursuing some private endeavors, and that would prohibit him from continuing to serve on the commission. We really appreciate his service. He's been very faithful in his service to this commission, and he will be missed. And so we'll be looking to fill that position before the next meeting. But now that you're no longer a member of the commission, then you're free to Steve or Donald to have that discussion with Chad, because he won't be weighing in on the commission after today's meeting. But whatever research you have, if we can start compiling that so that we can speak to that issue and help these inspectors and other folks discern which vinyl hybrids are acceptable and which aren't, then I think that will do that. That'll get us where we need to get.
I think that's a great course of action. We shouldn't have any problem doing just that. So I'll take that as a follow up, and I'll provide that. I hate to hear the news, but I join Glenn and just our appreciation, Chad, for what you've done for the commission, and we'll hate to see you go.
Hey, it's been an honor. I've enjoyed it and serving in 2.5 years, and I'm gonna miss you guys. And you know, my business it's really taken taken off. So I gotta focus on that. And, you know, and I will keep in touch. But it's been an honor to serve on this board, and I really hope I was able to help in some way. You know.
Absolutely.
You were, I can assure you that. And this whole group, in the past year or two, we pushed, or you have. I've just facilitated and done our part on this end. But you've done the heavy lift, and you've pushed through some very important rules packages that the industry has been wanting for a while now. So, and Miss Goldstein did a fine job of articulating what some of those were and where they're at in the process. But that was a result of your joint effort. So we applaud you and thank all of you and Chad for your contribution to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. It means a lot. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen. I guess then.
I just real quick echo everything all the other guys have said. And it's been a pleasure, man, working alongside you. I've learned a lot in these meetings and being on this commission, and so a lot of that came from you. So good luck with everything going forward, man, and just appreciate serving with you.
Thanks, Donald. Thank you. It means a lot.
Thank you all. I guess the last portion, since that research will be on vinyl hybrids that could potentially be similar material to canvas, since we're going to be since that'll be coming, and we'll be evaluating that and probably having that conversation through until the next meeting. I look forward to that, and we'll put that one to rest. But until then, I guess we'll move on to the next. That will be the UMAF letter. That was sent to you folks earlier as well. And in essence, what they're saying is that they need interest expressed from the commission for a officials training session that they'd like to do in our area. It's not, they don't necessarily need anything in the way of an official endorsement, but an email or anything, a letter from the chair. And Steve, of course, if that was your will, we could write that for you. And then if you'd like to sign it upon review, of course, we could send that to them. But they just need something to show that the commissions, their constituency, actually has an interest for something like that. So I guess the question is that something that our area needs? Do we need a training session for officials? And if you think that's something that we need, then we could just echo that to them as well.
And I'm sorry, Glenn. Who is it that's inquiring?
It's UMAF. It was. I sent it to you guys as well. It's by Justin Brown, and it's in conjunction with. It's an ABC course, but ABC, since they serve the commissions, since it's made up of for a lack of a better term, the shareholders are the commissions, right? I mean the ABC is composed of the commissions. So before they put on one of their official training events for officials, they want some form of interest from the commissions, stating that that's something that we would be interested in. So I guess the question to you is, would that be a value? Is that something you're interested in?
I'm just curious. What's the cost associated with it? Do we know what that is?
Yeah, it won't be associated with us. We won't be paying it, but the officials who attend will be paying anywhere from $100 to $150 each, and it's 2 full days. 1 full days. It's 1 day for refs and 1 day for judges.
I don't know that I see any harm in that. You can't know enough.
Right.
If folks that are attending are having to pay themselves, and that would obviously show the interest. So I guess we would just be in a position of more or less endorsing it. Is that kind of what I'm getting?
Yeah, just expressing interest. I mean, it could, we're not necessarily taking any action here, like memorializing a vote or doing like an official endorsement or anything like that. But just saying, as the commission, yeah, we do think that would have merit. That there's interest in this community potentially for something like that. That's really that's really the extent of it.
Mr. Wynn, I don't know if you have any input, but I guess I'd be in support of that. If you wanted to draft the memo, and I'd be happy to take a look at it and sign.
That sounds fine. Then we'll have that drafted then, and have that forwarded over to you, Mr. Hanna, and for your review. Unless there's anything else, that is all we had on our end. Is there anything else that any of you would like to discuss?
I think I'm all set.
Okay. Well, in that case, anyone like to entertain a motion to adjourn?
Steve Hanna will make that motion.
We have a second?
Don Wynn was second.
Okay. Now for voice vote, Steve Hanna?
Aye.
Chad Chilcutt?
Aye.
Donald Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. This meeting is adjourned, and thank you again, Chad. We wish you the best in future endeavors, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. See you guys.
See you, Chad.
Chad.
I'll be in touch.
Yes, sir.